Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. I'm your host, Big Les. We're going to get stuck into a podcast today going through and reacting to SEN's reaction to the rule changes. So obviously this has come out now a long time before I'm recording and reacting to it, but we didn't get a chance to react to it because we were away in Tilba. So I thought may as well just jump on a podcast, take a look. I'm not fully across all of the rule changes myself and how they work. So it was good for me, I guess. It will be good for me rather to sort of jump in, listen to what the experts have to say, and then provide my little bits and pieces as well. So make sure to go ahead and subscribe before we begin. Become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community, and let's get started, guys. I'll just quickly share my screen. There we go. Let's get stuck into it.
The NRL, it doesn't sleep. It does not sleep. December 30, yesterday, an email went out to all the club bosses via Andrew Abdo, pinpointing to 4 potential rule changes which could come into effect into the NRL in 2026. Look, it's important to note that these are just, the NRL want these changes to come in. Okay, so these proposals, the NRL want them, so they're not like dipping the toe in to see what the feedback is like. If the NRL have their way, they'll be in. But it's gone to stakeholders, so it's gone to chief executives. It should go to head of footy, coaches, the RLPA, so the players have some say in it as well. But I'm going to pick...
Interesting. So it looks like that these rule changes are going to come in. It's just a matter of what the stakeholders say. Very, very interesting. I know PVL is a guy that just gets his way. I think if you have been living under a rock, you probably wouldn't have seen PVL, the number of things that he's done in the game already and the things that he's gotten over the line. I think Vegas is probably the perfect example. It looks like these changes are going to happen. So let's keep watching.
They're coming in.
I'd say more likely than not.
Yep.
Keary agrees.
At least most of them will come in. I'll pick your brain on to start with. Look, the first one is probably the most controversial. It's around the kickoff and the fact now that the side that concedes the points has an opportunity to kick off or receive. So that's twofold, right? So essentially, kickoff's been the way for 100 plus years. One season in Super League, the winning side kicked off, which is essentially what it's going to be now.
Yep.
So if you score, the scoring side kicked off. If you score, you're going to essentially kick off, because I can't see a time where... So let's strip that back. What's your first initial reaction on that rule change where the team that concedes the points has an opportunity to kick off or receive?
My first reaction to that is why. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why this change comes in. I think that it just creates excitement around the game, because you want to see the opposition team that gets scored on try and fight their way back into the arm wrestle. Now sides are just going to be immediately back in the arm wrestle. So I think that probably takes away from the game more than it gives it. But let's hear what Luke Keary has to say.
When I first heard, I went, why? What are we doing? And then I thought about it. I don't mind it.
Yep.
I don't mind it. I think it'll hopefully tighten a few games up.
Yes.
There's a massive momentum thing, and that's part of... So as a purist, I don't love it, because there's a part of the game which is really difficult. You can see to try the resilience, mental fortitude to then go back up there. You need to defend this set and get the ball back and get back into the game, right?
Yep.
So there's that big thing, and we speak about it. All the teams will speak about it through the year, about how we overcome that adversity of conceding and then getting straight back into it. And now it's kind of, they've gone to the NFL style. You get the ball straight away.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, you're straight back on the front foot, whereas you had to earn it before.
Yes.
You had to kick off and you had to earn getting the ball back. And we've seen some of the better teams, once that resilience drops in that team that's just conceded, teams can roll them 80 metres and be on top for the next 20, 30 minutes. Whereas now you're going to have a chance to get straight back into it. I like it. As Connor said, at the end of games, it's going to be a little bit different, but the way short kickoffs have gone and short dropouts and things, you're nearly a 50-50 chance anyway.
Yeah.
So if you are chasing, you're down by 12, you score to make it 6, a minute to go, you need the ball back, you're nearly a 50, it's not 50-50, but you're a good chance of getting that ball back.
What I wanted to react to first is just the first part of what Luke Keary said then. So Yes, I understand that logic. If you're getting absolutely flogged, or it looks like there's a flogging about to take place, this team's come out, it's been dominant, you've been getting rissoled, couple of repeat sets in a row, and they score a try, and it looks like it's going to be a humping. The opposition team that's about to receive the humping can go, oh, wait, no, I'm going to get the ball. We're going to get the ball back here. We're going to receive and then immediately try and fight our way back into the arm wrestle. Now, obviously, that attacking team that just scored the try can come out and put a good defensive hit, set in and then trap you in your own end anyway in that set. And then it's just back to what it would have been before. But it does give that opposing team that has been scored on a chance to come back a little bit more. Again, it's just like, why? I don't really understand why that change needs to necessarily come in. It does, I guess, even things out a little bit more. But I'm a bit of a, old school cat, even though I'm pretty young. I'm a pretty old school cat in the sense that I like the fact that, you're facing a bit of adversity in a game. It's the sides are scoring points and you need to try and find your way back into the arm wrestle. That creates excitement. It feels like you're taking a little bit of excitement away when you're doing that. And then, on the flip side of that, which I think these boys are about to get to, if you're the team that is, if you're the team that's deciding, I'm going to receive or we're going to kick off, 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick to receive the footy. I can't see if you're a side that, let's go back to that example that we had before, right, where the team obviously looks like they're going to pump you. They've got a couple of repeat sets in a row. They score points. I can't see a world where you would then kick back to them. If you have the choice to receive the footy or kick back, if that's the situation, I can't see a world where you would actually kick back to the attacking team. Doesn't make any sense, really. And then just, without any of those, I get that, without that scenario even in place, when the fuck are you ever going to kick back to the other team after they've scored a try on you and allow them to continue that momentum? Now, sure, there's a chance that you can obviously get it back with the short kickoff, but you're not really doing a short kickoff. You're not really doing a short kickoff unless it's the back end of the game. Now, what I'm sort of thinking is, and this might be a little bit over the top, but maybe that does increase the chances of a short kickoff then, because you are choosing to kick the ball back to the other team, but you obviously want to get the ball back off the short kick, which is what I think Luke Keary is sort of alluding to there. It's the same 50-50 chance, but maybe that does promote more short kickoffs because you're given the option and you might go, you know what? We've just been rissoled. We've got some good field position here from where we're kicking from. Let's just try a short kickoff, get it 10 metres, and then we'll start a set on their, the opposing team 40-metre line. That, for me, probably makes a little bit of sense, but that's probably me also being a little bit outlandish and thinking of a specific scenario. But look, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think that this will probably potentially increase the likelihood of a short kickoff if you do choose to kick the ball back to the opposition? Because that's probably the only sort of way I could see that this works, right? It's probably the only way that I see a team choosing to kick back to the opposition after being scored on. But let's keep listening.
From the kickoff, and it probably puts more emphasis on go and figure out how to get the ball back off the kickoff. But I do like it in terms of evening the momentum up of the game.
And do you ever think you'll see a time, you captain before, will you ever see a time if your side's conceded points that you won't want the ball?
Never.
Yeah.
Give me one situation.
I can't. I've been trying to think of it.
The only situation I can think of is if you want to kick it down and absolutely smash someone.
Yeah.
A la Origin when
Spencer.
Queensland kicked it in the air and
oh yeah, when
tried
Kirk
to
Gidley
bash
got poor Kirk Gidley. Yeah. Well, we saw it in Origin too when the kickoffs around Spencer Leonard this year as well. But yeah, so I can't see a time either where you don't want the ball.
Never. Don't give them a
So
choice.
why do we just not make
I
it?
don't know. There'd be a reason behind that. I don't know what it is.
6-player bench. So the way this one is going to work is that now coaches will have the luxury of having 6 players on the bench, 19-man squads on game day where 6 players on the bench, you can only play 4 of those players. And then so you still have your 8 interchanges.
Yep.
You can only play 4. You can play any 4 at any time. Once, obviously, a player's played, you can't go and play another one. So maximum of 4 players.
This reeks of concussions. And I think the boys will probably touch on it in a second. I can see it coming, but I think this is to do with the HIA protocols. And obviously, if you lose someone during a game, obviously the 18th man becomes active, but now it sort of gives coaches the opportunity to actually be a bit more selective in having pretty much guys that can cover anything. So, for example, let's say that, or let me just explain, I guess, the dynamic of the bench or the new look bench with the 6 players there. So you'd have, for me, you'd have 4 forwards. So 14, 15, 16, and 17 would probably all be forwards. 14 may be like a Kurt Manny sort of build, but you probably don't necessarily need it now. I'd go for 4 forwards. So let's not use a team example. Let's just keep it very vague. So 4 forwards, 14, 15, 16, 17 are all forwards. I'd probably bring an edge back rower, 2 front rowers, and then probably a lock / back rower. I think that would probably be the way to go. Someone that can play a little bit of both. And then 18 and 19. So 18 would probably be a half / hooker. So someone that can play both, like a Jack Cogger or someone like that. And then jersey 19 would be an outside back. So someone that can probably play fullback, can cover on the wings and in the centers. I think that makes the most sense, right? Because you've pretty much got cover for every single position now on your bench. And I think that with what we were going to allude to before with the HIAs and whatnot is the fact that now, let's just say that James Tedesco goes down, right? Previously, that Roosters bench would probably be Connor Watson, and then a couple of other forwards there. I'm not going to rattle off the predicted side because that would just take too long. I have to think of that off scratch. I'm not sure what I have down at the moment anyway. But turning Siri off. I don't know why Siri's turned itself on. What I was going to say is the Roosters bench, their utility would probably be Connor Watson. So rather than having to throw Connor Watson at fullback, or, reshuffle and throw him in the centers like they've done in the past, they could have a fullback there in a Ethan King, who's obviously not there anymore. Like Cody Ramsey's just gone there. So Cody Ramsey would probably be that guy in jersey 19. And these sort of guys could probably still go and play cup, so it wouldn't really affect you too much because you wouldn't have to use 18 and 19 unless you absolutely had to. Maybe 18 gets a run if you're doing it like me and you want that utility, and maybe one of your 14, 15, 16, 17 is a forward that played a little bit of cup beforehand and you want to see, or you might give a chance to in the game. But yeah, I think that this is definitely HIA and concussion focused. For when you do get into those situations, you've now definitely got cover for the player that gets injured. The only caveat to that, or the only, I guess, thing that wouldn't make too much sense to me, so let's just say that you've used your 4 players. It's 14, 15, 16, 17, and you've already used those players. It's late in the game. Do 18 and 19 then become non-playable? And then if you do get into a concussion scenario late in the game and Tedesco's ruled out for the last 10, let's go 10 minutes. Let's say you've used all your interchanges up and there's 10 minutes to go and Tedesco goes down. You're 14, 15, 16, 17. You have to use one of those guys now because you've already used the 4 out of the 6 interchanges. That's probably the only little thing that I'd sort of get nitpicky about. But other than that, it's definitely a smart play. And again, most likely if you have a similar makeup to me, I'd probably pick 1 forward from Cup and I'd pick 1 back from Cup. And my 14 would be in jersey 18, if that makes sense. Someone that can play a couple of different positions. But let's hear what these guys have to say. I've talked for too long.
Once those 2 players, the unused players, become the emergency for foul play HIA. Okay,
Yep.
so they
there you go. So the 2 players will still become the equivalent of the 18th man once you've used up those 4 players. And if there is an active foul play, they can still be brought into the game. That answers my question, and I actually like this rule. I do like it.
Can still play a part in the game, so then you have 2 players to choose from for the HIA or foul play mechanisms. But your thoughts on having the ability to have 6 players sit on the bench each game?
My initial gut feeling, I don't love it. And I'm sure I get the health things, the HIA stuff. You know what's a big part of the game, which people don't realise, and if coaches spend a lot of time on it, their interchange routine.
Yep.
What minutes people are coming on and off, how the game goes, who's on the bench.
Yep.
Players like Connor and things like that, do they become useful?
Yes.
Training, who can train in the halves if we need someone to go down,
Yes.
if fullback goes down, there's so much stuff that goes on.
He does make a good point. Coaches do take a lot of time to obviously decide the makeup of their bench, and they sort of think about all of these sort of things. Connor's a guy that can play pretty much anywhere. And I'm not saying that it would be a bad thing, or it has been a bad thing in the past, that he's had to go and play fullback or play in the centres. But it's something that Trent Robinson would obviously think about when putting Connor Watson in jersey 14. He's like, he can cover a ton of positions, and if there is injuries anywhere, I should say, he can go in and cover those spots. So I get what Luke Keary's saying there in regards to the coaches know the makeup of their bench when they pick it, and they are pretty meticulous in the way that they pick it to ensure that if there is injuries around the park, they've got guys to cover those positions. And even sides like, for example, Cronulla, who generally pick an all-forward bench, I guess for those guys, I mean, they've got dudes that can move around. So, for example, if Will Kennedy was to go down mid-game, Ronaldo would do a pretty solid job at fullback. You've obviously got there as well. Yeah, no, it'd probably be Ronaldo Mortalo. It'd probably only be Ronaldo Mortalo that would be making a move. I think that Ronaldo is a lot more talented than what people assume in regards to. I think that he could fill in a ton of different positions. So he'd probably go into fullback or centre if there was injuries in and around the park there. And then I guess if there's injuries in the halves, they've proved that they can go with one half for a game of footy just with their style of play, because McInnes goes into a bit of a hybrid role, and so does Blake Brayley. So I really don't mind. I like the rule, but I get what Luke Keary's saying in the sense that coaches already think about this sort of stuff when they pick their 17s as well. It's not like you just pick the best 17. You also pick a 17 that is tactical and meticulous in the sense that if players go down, you've got players to cover certain positions.
Behind the scenes with a 4-man bench that's very technical and strategic. This takes it away a bit. You can carry these halves and things like that. Probably for the product of the game, it does. It literally takes that whole thing away, because you've got players that can cover every single position, which is sort of why I like the rule. But I think Denon actually put a post up, Denon Kemp, bloke in a bar, the other day about, will this destroy the utility? I more so think it's going to change what the utility is. Jersey 18-19 will become the utility, in my opinion at least, from how I do it and how I'd make up my 14 to 19. I think that the 18 and 19 would become the utilities in the sense that injuries, they can come on and play a bit of a role. Jersey 18 for me will go from the head doctor, 18th man, can come in if there's injuries, whatnot, sort of thing, into the out-and-out utility that can pretty much play across a ton of positions. The main ones, usually your 14 is someone that can play a bit of a roaming lock role, but can also play at 9 and cover in the halves if there's injuries. That's I guess, someone that you would sort of classify as a utility player. But yeah, I think that jerseys 18 and 19 would be your utilities on the bench. I think the idea of the utility is probably going to change more so than the whole concept of a utility being destroyed, if that makes sense. The right thing to do, right? You lose your 7 in a grand final or a big game, and you can literally carry a 7 now, and you don't even have to use him. Yeah. Sucks for the players. People will say straight away, does it diminish the New South Wales Cup and Queensland Cup? Is it going to stunt growth? Things like, I don't know how that'll work. I'm gathering those players that don't get to play will play. But I just love the tactical side. And even, we've spoken about this before,
before he gets to that, as I said, one of the forwards from my bench, and then the guy that is coming in that can play in the outside back, so my jersey 19, both of those guys, if allowed, would play New South Wales Cup.
My best memories are
Yeah,
from
that's
games
what I want to ask you about.
when we had 4 injuries.
Correct.
We've got no one sitting on the bench. The camera goes down to the bench. There's no one on it. You've got blokes playing out of position, and you find a way to win. And now that will be taken away a little bit.
A little bit. That'll be taken away completely because you've got guys to cover everywhere. So it is a big point, taking away that excitement in those sort of circumstances. It takes a lot of pressure off coaching staff though as well, because you can just have cover for everything. It's pretty lax. Does that take away from the excitement of the game? It probably does, but I'll tell you what, the coaches aren't complaining about that rule.
I love the strategic side of it, and just the coaches have to actually think about it. You can't just roll into a game and go, when someone gets tired, I'll bring him off and bring him on. No, you've got to go, who's my best 4, who can cover positions now? Like, it's just, I don't love it, but it's not the end of the world.
It's twofold for mine. One is the fact that you can talk to this way better than I can, is that when I talk to coaches or players, there's always a moment in a season that's season defining, right? And a lot of it is when you're faced with adversity.
Yep.
Okay, when you're down, you have a head clash, you lose 2 players in the opening 10 minutes, and you've got, a second rower playing at halfback, or you've got a prop having to play 80 minutes, and you've got these sort of things that happen,
It's
right?
the best.
That will be diminished a little bit now. That won't happen as much, because if you lose a half and you've got a half on the bench, well, step up and do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it protects the product, right? So
Correct.
I get it protects the product, but I reckon the players would not like it, and those 2 players that don't play will be filthy.
Yeah.
I know we get usually, not say the 18th man, the HIA.
Yeah.
Sure, but I'd be pretty adamant, even at start of season and during preseason, that 2 guys will not play. Jersey 17 and jersey 19 will most likely not play. They are purely picked if there is injury, or just with tactics of game and whatnot. They might come in at certain stages, but I'd be pretty adamant at start of season that how I'm going to work out my bench is that 14 to 16 and jersey 18 will play in the game, most likely, pending injuries and pending, as I said, tactics around the game. And maybe they do want to bring someone a little bit more flashy on is that outside back and just put them in a bit of an unorthodox position. But other than that, it'd be 14 to 16 and then 18 would play. And then I would be pretty upfront about jerseys 17 and 19. So a forward from Cup, and then also a outside back. So the guy that plays in the outside backs from Cup. I'd be saying that you guys will be playing the entirety of New South Wales Cup, respectively, pending your positions. And if there's injuries, then we'll obviously throw you in. Or, depending on if you are ready for your debut, we can throw you in as well, more so for the jersey 17. So that's the way that I'd go about it anyway. But I'd be if I was a coach, which I'm not, but if I was a coach, I'd be pretty upfront and honest at the start of the season that if you are put in these positions or in this jersey, that's what it's going to mean.
The sub, he's usually not too happy that he had to sit there.
Yeah.
Right, and they rarely get on.
Well, that's different, though, because this is a coach's decision now live in game. The 18th man, if you're going to be activated or not, and whether or not you're going to be used after that. So this is...
there's probably a strategic part to it, right? Who are your
definitely.
6? How's the game going? Do you take power people on the bench? Do you take a half? You obviously take an outside back. When do you play them? Like there's still going to be a strategic side to it. Just a bigger bench.
I do think it does diminish a little bit at the very least the blokes like Connor Watson who can play multiple positions within games.
Agree.
Kurt Mann.
Again, sure, but I think that as I said, the idea of the utility is going to change, and it really depends on tactics. Guys like Connor Watson's can still wear jersey 14 if it suits the makeup of your bench, and you don't have to do the makeup of the bench specific to how I do it. How I do it is just how I do it. Like you could have your normal bench 14 to 17 with your utility at jersey 14, and then have a spare forward and whatever you like in jerseys 18 and 19. Like, you could still do it like that. I just think that if this is to come into place, my sort of idea as to what the utility will look like is going to change. I don't think that the utility is going to be diminished. I don't think necessarily that Connor Watson's role is going to be diminished. He'd be sort of my jersey 18 rather than 14, if that makes sense. I just feel like where these guys sit and when they're used will change. I think people are looking at it in the sense that, you can just carry your outside back and your half on the bench, and then the utility is just going to be gone. Those guys are the utilities now. So, as I said, I think that the role is going to change.
These guys that have built their careers on...
You're going to bring a specialist spine member.
Correct. So if you're
going to bring a specialist half to every game now, just in case, or a fullback.
We'll use Connor because we spoke to him last hour, and you can hear that on the podcast. If he's in Origin, right, he doesn't necessarily get a game under this rule because you'd carry... So now the New South Wales will have Blake Brayley and Reece Robson in that 19-man squad. Yeah. Okay, so if Robson goes down or Brayley goes down, you bring him on.
Or you play him 80 if he gets through.
You play him 80 if he gets through, right? So Connor's value is being able to go, I play 6, fullback, halves, lock, hooker. Like, he can do all those and do them at a really high value. But
And that's my point. He wouldn't be, in my style of bench, he'd be my jersey 18 because he can cover a ton of positions, mainly halves and hooker, and obviously a little bit of lock as well, depending on the game.
To wonder what that means for the utility and the smaller player a little bit going forward. So I don't love it. What these two rules have been designed for is to try and manufacture a way that the game remains close.
Which I like.
But why? Well, you don't need, I don't have an issue if a team is so dominant. Sometimes
it's going to happen.
A 40-0 game is more entertaining than a 16-12 game. Just because it's close doesn't mean it's a good game.
Yeah, true.
Right? You would have been part of games where you've just been on from start to finish. Like, you look at Penrith in that grand final against Parramatta. That opening 40 minutes was one of the best 40 minutes of rugby league I've ever seen.
Yep.
But it was all one-sided.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong
Still
with that.
good to watch,
It happens. Okay? And I'm sure you've been part of 16-12 games where you go, mate, we won. That was an absolute bludger of a game.
Yeah.
So... Do you know what I mean? So just because it's close doesn't mean it's a good product. So I don't like the fact that we're trying to manufacture a way to keep the games close. The other two rules I actually don't mind. Well, one I really like is the drop ball. So when you drop the ball over the try line...
You're going for a try.
You're going for a try.
We spoke about it last week. I think the 7 tackles hopefully be gone. I reckon they're talking about...
Getting rid of it eventually.
It's too big of a punishment. Like, the 6 tackles from the 20 is enough. You get free 20 metres. You still get your 6 tackles. You get a set start. This rule's it's common sense.
So the rule will be now that if you drop the ball over the try line or, an active score and a try, a non-negative play, I think is how they've described it, you'll concede a 6 tackle set from the 20-metre mark like it used to be for years gone by.
It makes sense. It does make sense. I think out of all of these rules, that's one where I think the NRL will probably going to bring in anyway. And I don't think we really would have noticed it, to be fair. I think that you would have just seen that and players just get the set restart, like a 6 tackle set instead of a 7 tackle set. I actually don't even think we would have noticed it if they brought it in, to be fair. But let's see what the boys have to say.
You kick the ball dead still, it's going to be a 7 tackle set. I don't mind that. I agree with that. I really like that adjustment. That's the way it should be. 6 again, adjustment as well. So set restart for any infringement outside the 20 now.
Yep.
Okay, so at the moment, this year, it was in...
Again, we would have noticed this more than the last one, but these sort of rules would have come in anyway. I actually don't mind it. I think these two rules probably make the most sense and we're going to come in anyway. The other two I sort of like. They're exciting. It's going to be interesting to see how it works. It is going to change the game a little bit. Whereas these two, I think, are just little tweaks where I think that it's just fixing little things and making the game a better product. Very, small ways.
Inside the 40,
Yep.
would be a penalty. Now it's inside your 20 will be a penalty. I don't that one doesn't.
I don't think it matters.
That one doesn't impact me either way.
I think the big ones that they weren't happy with were the set restarts they used to give. Say when a team kicked down, they give it on play one.
Yes.
Things like that. So, I think we've adjusted so much now. You could nearly go set restarts the whole way, but
Well,
we
from the-
won't.
yeah.
We don't need to.
Yeah.
But it's not that.
I think
it's not
inside
a
the
big
20,
of
it's
a-
still important because you know what it means.
Yeah,
Like you
you
can
can still
jump, you
kick
can jump
out.
early,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you can back your defense to make sure
Yeah.
teams don't get out of their 15 or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with those last two. I really like the drop tackle and the one over the 20. Set restart from outside
Same.
doesn't bother me, but the kickoff one, I don't know. I'm a bit of a purist.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's going to get people right. But I think it's been Peter and Andrew's biggest strength.
Yes.
And you could say their biggest weakness, but they're going to cop flack because they have innovated. They have taken this game and they've innovated on it. They've
Yes.
brought in different rules. They've done different stuff. It's the biggest strength of the NRL over the last 5
Yes.
years. But you're going to get some criticism
Well,
at the same time.
I wrote in. I've done an opinion piece in today's Telegraph. You read online now. Is that I didn't agree with the set restarts, but I love the set restarts now.
I was part of the
Yeah.
innovation committee
Yeah.
during this period, and it was very hard, right, as a player who's played the game for a long time, and I was sitting in there with coaches who've coached for a long time,
Yeah.
for us to get our head around, like, hang on, you can't just change the rules of
Yes.
this game that we've been playing
Yeah.
for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then obviously after a little bit, and I've just experienced the Super League, which is
Yeah.
15 years
Yes.
behind, right? Full-arm penalties, you can do what you want, and we are in such a better spot.
Yep.
And it takes someone with a bit of kahunas
Yes.
to sit there and go, I'm going to change the rules of a game.
He is completely right. Credit to Peter V'landys. I think that he's done a exceptional job at creating a really good product. He generally gets what he wants, and he's always bargained for 90% of the time the right thing. So really, really good stuff. I think it was such good insight for us, especially just to sort of get an idea of what these new rules can look like. And look, I'm very, very keen to see if these rules are implemented. As they said at the start, they probably will be. Guys, this was a long one. Make sure if you haven't already to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube to become part of the big LEZ'S League community. I think it's really good insight, and especially for someone like me who really didn't, dive deep into the rule changes myself. It was really good to sort of get that insight and hear some, a past player who's played the game and obviously a journo sort of discuss it a little bit in further length. And sort of get their minds around it and have open discussions, and really good for myself to sort of get my head around it and listen to those guys speaking, grab their insights. So hopefully it was the same for you. If you like that sort of content, subscribe. We are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that great stuff. Subscribe. There's going to be some big things coming, guys. Really, really big things coming. I want to know from you guys as well. I'm going to throw this to you. Thinking about potentially doing some vlog content. Let's just say I'm involved in an event that I was last year. Big event, bunch of content creators are going to be there. Let me know if you want to do some vlog content around that certain event. I can reveal more, obviously, once they announce it on their pages, which I think will be around this sort of time. I'm recording this on Saturday, so it hasn't happened yet, hasn't been revealed yet. It will probably be revealed by the time this podcast comes out. But let us know if that's something you'd like to see, or just anything really. Anything you guys want to see, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to all of the platforms, and Instagram as well. The Instagram's been pumping lately. I think everyone's been affected by the under 16 law and whatnot as well. I think that we certainly have, but just the organic followers that we're getting back and the growth has been really, really good over the past couple of months. So keep that going. Go give us a follow on the Instagram, @BigLEZ'S League_. We'll see you guys in the next one.